behaviorist and a mom of a little boy with Down syndrome and autism. I want to welcome you and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Many of you have seen part 1 of our ABA training. If you haven't seen it, please take a few moments to take a look at that video, and it'll talk a little bit about some of the things we do in applied behavior analysis to help our clients, whether they're young kids or adults. But if you haven't seen it, that's okay. We're going to do a little review, and together we're going to work on a couple scenarios. If you're basically an investigator, many of you who like to figure things out, this is a wonderful opportunity for you. We do what we call ABC collection, and that means we look at the environment. We call it A for antecedent. What does that mean? That means what happens immediately before the problem behavior. So let's take a step back. Who was in the room? What was going on? Was there a loud noise? Was there something aversive that made the person scream out? Was there a loud sound? Was there something that just was aversive, a strong odor? Was there a lot of chaotic activity? So we look what immediately occurred in the environment and who was there before that behavior occurred. So that's A, antecedent. B is the behavior. What is that we're observing? And then C is what is the consequence, meaning what immediately followed the behavior. Was that person reprimanded? Was that person given attention in that form? Was the person given an escape? Were they allowed to leave the room and put into another environment? So in other words, if the person's trying to engage in that behavior to get out of doing something and he has a tantrum and you remove him and put him in a different environment, what happens? He got exactly what he wanted. So what do you think will happen in the future? Do you think he'll engage in that behavior again if he doesn't want to stay in the room? You bet he will. So a lot of our behaviors, unknowingly, we are reinforcing them when immediately following the behavior if we don't stay cool and calm. In other words, neutral. And I know this isn't easy. Many of us get excited because we're concerned. There's something to keep in mind here. If we're talking a very serious behavior where someone's in danger, then we have to do certain things and not ignore them. But in many cases, when we're talking about, for example, attention, when we give the attention, whether it's in a positive way, where we're praising the person or we're reprimanding them, we're still giving attention. So a lot of times we put what we call that behavior on extinction. That means we ignore it. We don't give it any mind. And we typically will give that person our attention when they're doing the appropriate behavior. But then the question becomes, how do they know what's appropriate? They have to be taught. And that's where you and I come in. We have to help them understand that they can get what they want, but we've got to teach them how to do it appropriately. So now you know there are 4 reasons we engage in the behavior: for automatic stimulation, where that's just doing it because we enjoy it, it feels good. We do it to escape something we find undesirable. We do it to access items, and we also do it to access someone's attention. And then we also know, let's take a look in the environment. What are the ABCs? What's the antecedent? Right before the behavior happens, what is the behavior we're looking at? And then what is the consequence that immediately follows? Once we've assessed that information, then we know how to proceed. Let's take a little walk through.
We must always remember that most people engage in problem behaviors for more than one reason. Now, let's work on 3 scenarios together. These are very common, so if you haven't seen it yet, trust me, you will. In the first scenario, we have a client named Johnny. Johnny is a 25-year-old man with autism. He loves to take other people's food and things. Over and over again, you'll see that when other residents in his home or staff members put their sodas, their cell phones, or food on a table, Johnny will swipe it. He'll drink their sodas or start using their cell phone. If he sees a bag of chips that belong to someone else, he'll eat them before they realize they're gone. It's a repetitive cycle. What typically happens is he's yelled at by his peer or staff member. "Why did you do that? This doesn't belong to you." The people get hot and irritated. They want their items and they want it brought back to them. It's frustrating when the person doesn't ask our permission. After Johnny's been drinking their soda, they don't want it anymore, and they typically just let him have it. There's really nothing else done to help Johnny learn what is the socially appropriate way to ask for something that belongs to others. Let me ask you a question. If Johnny is given what he wants, do you think he'll keep taking other people's food and items? You're right. Of course he will. He's learned that when he does this behavior, he gets access to what he wants. He hasn't learned anything about social behavior. A more appropriate behavior to teach him, knowing that he does this, is to practice with Johnny and maybe another person. Put items around the room and ask another staff member to model the appropriate way to ask for chips, soda, a number of items. Ask Johnny to try. Give him positive praise like, "Good job, you're doing a great job," as he demonstrates the correct behavior. Sometimes a person may say no. You can't have their soda or snack. And it's appropriate to teach Johnny that there are times when it's not appropriate to take someone's staff item. And then you teach him to ask for his own snacks in the home. We can set up different scenarios in the person's natural environment to practice. Most of our clients aren't doing these behaviors to be malicious. No one along the way has taken the extra time and care to teach them. Without the instruction by someone who genuinely cares, someone like you, that person has no opportunity and he'll keep doing that behavior. It will create fighting, separation. People will withdraw from them. It's important that we follow through. You see what the importance is here? Let's try another scenario. This young lady is Susan. She's a 30-year-old woman with intellectual and developmental disabilities. She tends to run late. A lot of times when she has to go to a medical appointment or her day program, her staff member will repeat over and over again, "Hurry up, Susan, you'll be late for the doctor's appointment." Susan does everything but get dressed. The staffer gets so frustrated with her, she doesn't notice Susan left the house without her socks or underwear on. She's quite exposed. The staffer is so frustrated when she realizes, she throws her hands up and lets it go. You can imagine what the rest of the day was for that young lady. Keep in mind, this is another opportunity to teach Susan. What are some of the things that the staffer could have done to help this young lady who continually runs late? One possibility, what do you think about a visual schedule? Give her an idea of what's coming and what appointments to prepare for. You know, Susan had a 9 o'clock appointment and she generally takes maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes. What do you think about creating a visual schedule and using a timer for Susan? Is it possible Susan has motor challenges and struggles with putting her garments on? Is that possibly why she's taking so long? Does she know how to tie her shoes? Wouldn't it be a great idea if on that day she doesn't have to, go to an appointment, that we practice with her and we observe to see what is possibly taking so much of her time? As she's getting dressed and putting on her undergarments, perhaps she needs someone to explain and give her demonstration or instructions. And then as she's doing it, maybe she needs to hear, "You're doing a great job, Susan. If you do this, then we can go for a ride." Or, "Susan, if you do that, then we could sing a song together." Take these opportunities to teach Susan instead of getting angry and assuming that she's just dilly-dallying. Maybe she has an issue, a motor challenge. And again, using phrases like, "If you're doing this, then we can do that." If she's missing clothing or has the wrong shoe on, so be it. That's what many people would say. Do you think the member will continue her behavior? Do you think she'll continue to leave her home with missing underclothes and perhaps mismatched shoes? Yes. She needs to be taught by someone who cares and will take the time when there isn't a pressing appointment. In the last scenario, we've got a young guy. He's 9 years old and his name is Michael. He loves attention, but he has a bigger problem. He enjoys self-stimulating behaviors that are destructive. He tends to bang on lights and bang light switches on and off in such a rough, forceful way that he's busted a couple of the switches in his home. His family gets so angry at him, they yell at him, they isolate him in his room. Would it be a great idea to find a more socially appropriate behavior that he can enjoy, that doesn't destroy property? What can we replace that behavior with? We observe that he likes the sound of the clicking and the lights going on and off. What other activities can you think of that we can teach him to do while explaining the importance of respecting property? What about using a pin screen? Have you ever seen pin screens? They're beautiful colors. They make a clicking sound. They're fun to touch. They're very tactile. He can enjoy a pin screen as often as he wants. That's one possibility. How about getting him his own flashlight for following instructions? This is his to enjoy. That's another possibility. He can click it on and off. It has a light ability and it makes a clicking sound. What about getting him a light up toy? Something that maybe even plays music. It gives him an opportunity to enjoy that self-stimulating behavior, but it also can be a reward that you're teaching him how to request an item and to comply to instructions. So if you do this, then we'll get you that. We still haven't taught him why we must respect property. That's a whole lesson in and of itself. But in the meantime, we can intercept that problem behavior that is destroying lights and other objects throughout the home. You can see from these 3 scenarios that looking at problem behavior as a genuine cry out for help. Are you up for the challenge? I believe you are. I wish you all the best on this new and exciting journey you're about to embark on. Good luck.